welcome to Dropout 22, a GD Media production. There it is, England Grand Slam champions for the first time since 2003. But was this the worst Six Nations that there ever was? Full credit to England, deserved champions of the Six Nations, but we are here to discuss whether that was the worst tournament that we have seen thus far in the Six Nations. Joining me from South Africa is our emerging star of the year, Jimbo Muir, for the first time in 2016. In the studio with me is Patrick Andrews. WIll Corsie may or may not join us, and Guy Griffiths is on the phone. Welcome aboard! Gentlemen, welcome to Dropout 22. England officially crowned as Grand Slam Six Nations champions, and deservedly so. Now, let's start. We invited Sam Whiting, we invited Luke Milton, we invited WIll Corsie all on the show, and they didn't want to come on to discuss the nation's win, which is, understandable. But I don't want to take anything away from England. They're fully deserved champions. I think they completely deserved to win and deserve to win the Grand Slam. However, I don't want it to sound like sour grapes or anything, but it has been the worst Six Nations in living memory for me. I mean, as an outsider, Patty, what was it like actually watching in on that?
Yeah, wasn't great, so to speak. There were Six Nation champions and the Grand Slam champions. Hard thing to do, but really, in all honesty, that's like being the world's tallest midget. They've not really achieved too much, and they probably played the best and certainly deserved to win out of the Six Nations competing, but there's a long way to go. Let's leave it at that.
I mean, Guy, obviously well worth their win. Are they as good a Grand Slam side as we've seen in the past?
I think we mentioned it before that it wasn't vintage, but at the same time, if you hark back 10 years ago, France were winning it after beating one team, which was just beating England. Once you've beaten England, you've won the thing. So it's got to be some credit going their way, because they've obviously got a very strong Welsh team, a French team which actually at home isn't the easiest to beat, even though they're absolutely useless. And then obviously you've got the Irish and Scots. The Irish who are on the downward curve, but are still very, very tough to beat. And then the Scots who are on upward curve. So give it dues, deserve it. Best team in the championship. Closely followed by Wales, who fell asleep for 60 minutes. Otherwise, I think we'd have probably picked them.
Now, it is my absolute pleasure to invite to welcome our emerging star of the year, who has yet to appear on Dropout 22 in 2016. Jimbo, he's cut his party short. He's come to join us for Dropout 22. Jimbo, how are you doing, pal?
Very well, thanks, G. Pleased to be back.
Absolute pleasure to have you.
So there was either seeing you lot or a bit of,
a bit of what?
Breasts.
There we go. James Muir picking Dropout 22 over breasts. Jimbo, did you drop into the Six Nations at all? Did you watch any of it? What did you make of it?
Oh, look, I mean, second tier competitions I don't really get involved in, mate. So I didn't see a lot of it, to be honest with you. And when I did, I fell asleep. So didn't see a lot. Can't comment too much on it. But England deserved champions. I mean, Italy, Scotland, really tough teams. France were on fire, as were Ireland. So
And I mean, what is it about the competition that just turns you off?
Oh, look, some years it's great. I think last year was a fantastic year. If I'm mistaken, the year it came down to the last day and there was something like 200 points. Was that last year's Six Nations?
Yeah, the Super Saturday was superb.
Yes, so it was fantastic. I think this year just missed a bit of spark. I think the games weren't as entertaining. Maybe the Wales-England game was quite entertaining, but apart from that, like I didn't see them all, but didn't seem to be too much going on.
Now, we'll come on to discuss why we think the Six Nations was such a turgid affair this year. But let's pay credit to England and the job that Eddie Jones has done, Patty. I mean, he's taken over a side that got dumped out of their own World Cup, that was, you know, in a crisis essentially, and he's turned them into Grand Slammers. How's he done it?
Yeah, definitely. And if you have a look, he's basically done it with the same team as well, which is more impressive when you look at it like that as well. If you take a look at some of the best sporting managers, not necessarily rugby managers, but sporting managers, there have been, certainly in recent time, with the way they approach the media, and there isn't more of a hot seat in terms of English sport, really, or certainly in terms of English rugby, than the coach and the national side. So, with his approach to totally be the focus for the media, to have it all stop and start with what he's saying, and really draw the attention away from his players' performance, has allowed them to play with much more freedom, much more abandon, and certainly play with some more confidence, because they haven't been under the microscope that, say, a home World Cup does provide. And I think that's been his biggest influence on the team, and possibly the chief reason why they have been successful.
And Guy, as much credit as Eddie Jones has got, Gatland's come under fire again for Warren Ball, for the way that we've played the game. It looked like we were trying to change it up, but then, as you mentioned, we just reverted to type then against the French, and it carried on in the same vein until we played probably the worst Italy side that there ever has been. I mean, what do you make of our performances? What do you make of the way that we're playing the game at the moment?
Personally, I enjoy the Welsh matches. Obviously, the atmosphere and everything. It's my country, it's my team, so I'm always behind the boys. I'm not always going away from that 80 minutes satisfied with the way we went about it. The fact of the matter is, we do play Warren Ball and we do try and beat teams up. We did try, as you mentioned, to mix it up a bit. But Dan Biggar said in the press this week that he's a bit fed up of everyone having a go at him for playing the way that we are meant to play, and playing really well. So apart from that, I'd like to see him mix it up, but I can't see it happening anytime soon.
No, I can't see. I mean, we sat here before the competition started and said, look, if he comes away with a Grand Slam, then we're not going to moan about the way that he's playing. And we were probably 60 minutes away from doing that. Finished second, and you know, things aren't going to change. I think he's brought us on leaps and bounds, and you won't hear me calling for his head anytime soon. That's for sure. I just think he said himself in press conferences, look, if you're changing the way that you're playing the game, that doesn't happen overnight. They're coming out of a World Cup where we have performed very well in difficult circumstances. He's starting to get all of his players back now. Let's see where we are in a year's time. And there's a massive tour to New Zealand in the summer. Jimbo, do you reckon we can nick a test off you in the summer when we come down for a 3-match tour?
Oh, look, you might be one of the provincial teams midweek, but other than that, no, I don't think so, mate.
Are you that confident that without the McCaws, without Nonu, without Smith, without Carter, that you're going to be the same force as you were in last season?
No, absolutely not. No, I've got no shadow of a doubt we're going to be missing, a lot of firepower there, and I'm a bit worried about the Aussies, to be honest with you, and to a certain degree the Springboks. And interesting to see how the Argies go after they play together a lot with the Jaguars in the Super 15.
Yeah.
So look, I mean, Wales might be a bit of a competition for us, but I can't see you guys taking a test.
I'll tell you what, we'll put a 20 quid wager on it now. I reckon we'll do you in one of the tests.
Done.
There we go.
That's like $800 where you are, isn't it, Jimbo?
That's enough for a house over here.
Yeah.
Okay, boys, we'll leave the Six Nations for now, and we will jump over to Patty's stats, and he has probably got the best Pat stats there has ever been. We were reading through it off air, and we were astounded. Patty, just take it away. Take it away.
Don't want to undersell it there, Gareth. Thanks, mate. This evening's stat is a blinder. Really, it is the only...
It'll all be clear now.
Yeah, exactly.
Apart from the...
It is the only British Prime Minister to lose an eye playing rugby. And that is the Right Honourable Gordon Brown in April 1967. Gordon Brown attended Kirkcaldy High School, and 2 years earlier than normal he won a place at the University of Edinburgh to study history. A keen sportsman, he took part in an end-of-term rugby match and was kicked in the head, causing the retina in his left eye to become detached, eventually leaving him blind. He underwent several operations and spent 6 months laying still with his eyes covered in a dark room.
Surely not.
But his eyesight could not be saved. All for nothing. Well done there, Mr. Brown. He later recalled, "It was the first 2 minutes of the game and I was caught in a loose scrum when someone kicked me in the head. We were a school team playing former pupils and everyone was trying to assert how strong and powerful they were. They probably decided to go for it in the first few minutes and give these young guys a shock. I got kicked unconscious, came around and just kept playing because I didn't know anything was wrong at the time." That's Mr. Gordon Brown.
And for those of you wondering, that is the Gordon Brown as well. That's not a bloke who used to, who was Prime Minister way back when. That is the former Labour leader who it's absolutely frightening.
They must have foreseen what he was going to turn out like.
Hey!
Thank you, Patty. More of that next week. Now then, well, let's jump.
Oh, hold on 1 sec. They told him to keep one eye on the opposition. Hey!
Any more for any more? Any more for any more?
Dreadful.
No, we're all done. Good.
I don't have time for this.
Right. Let's jump back into the Six Nations. I said that we'd discuss why it was such a poor tournament this year, and I just want to give you one little stat. 1/5 of the playing time from all the games, that is 1/5, 20%, was spent at scrum time. Now, Patty, you're a front rower, you love a scrum, but surely that's a dreadful, dreadful stat for rugby, isn't it?
Oh, you've got to look at it in the bigger picture as well. It'd be interesting to see the same stat for the rugby championship, because often the Southern Hemisphere style of rugby gets a bit of bad press up here because we throw the ball around and we're a bit more creative. Naturally, you would assume there would be more drop ball and therefore more scrums, but I just don't think that would be the case. And certainly, it's indicative of the very set piece heavy style of rugby that dominates up here in the Northern Hemisphere.
And I mean, the one thing that we could do to lessen the amount of scrums is just get rid of this choke tackle rule. It is just blighting the game. I mean, a team takes it in, another team wraps the bloke up, puts 4 blokes around him, the ball goes to the floor, they lie all over him, and they don't have to move out the way. I mean, is that somewhere that you can see be tidied up a little bit, Guy? Cool, good impact, Guy. Nice one. Patty, what do you reckon?
Me?
No, you missed your chance. Now shut up, Patty. What do you reckon?
I think you should all learn how to catch a ball first and practice your ball skills. That's a key difference between the two styles of rugby: Northern Hemisphere rugby and Southern Hemisphere rugby. Every player 1 to 15 can catch and pass back home, whereas over here it's much more personalised to your position. Little rules like that, they don't help, but certainly it's not the be all and end all, and not the reason why 20% of the game time was on scrums.
Jimbo, I mean, you've seen rugby all over the world. You're currently seeing it in South Africa that we'll come on to later on. I mean, what do you reckon the answer is for sorting out this scrum, which is starting to blight the game at the top level?
Well, I think what happens is people intentionally go for penalties, or they milk the scrum, and then as it gets reset, it collapses. I think they need to be more stern on the penalties. I'm not saying penalties, but free kicks around the scrum time. Rather than resetting it 3 times, the ref needs to make a decision, what's going wrong, where it's going wrong, and give the free kick accordingly, speed the game up.
Yeah, I'll pay that.
Okay. Guy, you can have your say now.
I've got a solution.
Go on.
And I like to say I completely agree with Jimbo. That's an excellent thought. But you can have a scrum from a free kick. So the boring teams like Ireland, who invented the choke tackle, just keep having it. We've got a spider cam in 4 of the 5 grounds at the moment. What's the danger in putting the spider cam over the top of every scrum?
Yeah.
And basically making the fuckers push straight. Because Joe Marler is sideways every scrum, and for some reason England get penalties at scrum time. It literally makes my blood boil. It makes the average fan's blood boil. If everyone pushes straight, the referee can see which man hits his knee on the ground or hits the deck first. There's an angle for every possible outcome, and I can't see how that would fail. Just on
that guy. In danger of becoming a lot like NFL, where they're stopping every 30 seconds to check technology, tech screens, and people are having challenges on calls. We want less. I for one, as a fan and a player, want less technology involved in the game, and certainly speed things up more. Instead of resetting everything, like Jimbo says, make a decision and go from there.
However, how are you supposed to tell with one man on one side? Say the scrum was centre field. At least one side of the scrum is at least 30-40 metres away and can't see exactly what's going on. If you stick that spider cam above the scrum, let the TMO either say England or Wales are playing, say white or red. Whoever's not pushing straight is an instant penalty. It would wipe it out overnight.
Or even better, give the referee a jetpack and have him hover above the field. It is pointless introducing too much technology.
I mean, is the issue though? I mean, even if you have got that camera in, you've still got referees who have never played in the front row. I mean, I'd like to think that I know the laws pretty well, but if I was faced with a scrum at an international level and you've got, 6 blokes going hammer and tong at each other in the front row, I wouldn't be 100% sure who's cheating, who's not cheating, and some of these refs haven't even played before. Jimbo, what do you reckon?
I don't think they are sure half the time. I honestly think if they give one time, they go the next. I'd be very. I mean, consistency is few and far between in the calls. And like you say, because maybe they don't understand the rules, they've never been in their position themselves, so it's very hard to manage it when you haven't had to do it.
It can be quite subjective as well. A lot of it's on the referee and how he interprets the rules, but also how he interprets what's happening on the field and who has particular dominance at the time as well. So it isn't as black and white, guy, as a spider cam making sure everyone's perfectly in line. It is much more grey to it than that. And certainly we're going to end up seeing referees in jetpacks flying around the field. That's what I think is next.
No, I agree. There is a lot of grey areas in this. However, in the basic rules of a scrum, you have to push straight, basically perpendicular to the other person's goal line. So if everyone is pushing straight in the first place, I know it'll move around, but if everyone is pushing straight and nobody's hips are jutting out, no loose head is trying to get under or in around somebody, if they're pushing straight, then it becomes a pushing scrummaging contest again, rather than who's got the best angle at the hit or whoever. It's got to be simplified because, as we've all said, the ref hasn't got a clue.
It's not always as simple as that, particularly in the contact at the very beginning of the scrum. So you could all be pushing straight, but whoever gets that initial dominance at the beginning of the scrum, at the engagement time, it's going to make it move in either direction. It's going to push it off its axis because that's the whole point. The 3 players in the front row aren't lined up directly, perfectly straight in line with each other. There is movement there, and it isn't. It's not as straightforward as that.
I mean, the one thing that I'd like to see personally is that if the ball gets the number 8's feet, it's live.
Yes.
Just go. There's so many referees who will reset a scrum despite the fact that the ball's there ready to play. I think that would help a lot, and I'm sure they already do it, but just referees need to have regular meetings with players who have just retired from the game in the front row. What is cheating? How do I solve this? I mean, a lot of players obviously go from playing into a coaching role, but there's plenty that don't. And the referees need to tap them up and go, show me how this player is cheating. Sit down, watch hours and hours of videos of scrums, and they'll be able to clue up. But obviously, it's a massive discussion point, boys. We could go on about it forever, but we are going to draw a line under it there, and we are going to skip on over 2 turnover ball. And this week it is a special with Patrick Andrews one-on-one with his old pal Jimbo Muir.
Thank you very much, G-Man. Right, James. Firstly, how are you, mate?
I'm very, very well, mate. I'm very well.
You sound healthy.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. You sound very healthy, mate.
Well, I'm at the peak of my powers at the moment, mate. Training hard and doing a lot of things.
So
I've been to the pub 7 nights in a row, so I'm really, hitting my straps. It's good.
Excellent. So, for all our listeners out there, can you fill us in? Firstly, whereabouts you are in the world exactly at the moment?
I'm currently at Hooters, Bar and Grill, of course, in Durban, South Africa.
I see. Now, for those that regularly listen to the show and keep track of your movements, you were in Bali for a while, and then New Zealand. Please fill me in. What's led you to Durban?
Work, mate. I got an opportunity to work over here, and I was stupid enough to move here. I went to New Zealand because I had to fly over and get my visa, so I had a month over there, bit of R&R, and now I've just arrived back the other day.
Seems your whole life is a bit of R&R at the moment, James.
Well,
7 nights a week in the pub.
Never want to work too hard, do you, Paddy?
Well, you know me. Are you playing any sport? I know during your time here in England, you're a keen cricketer and rugby man. What sport are you playing over there in South Africa?
Yeah, I'm playing rugby, mate. I just went to rugby training tonight. Got a first game tomorrow, which will be interesting. Playing a bit of indoor cricket, playing a lot of golf, a little bit of indoor netball. Haven't been game enough to get in the surf yet. I bought my surfboard.
Whoa. Sorry, you breezed over something there. It's just a little bit of indoor netball. Not your regular netball. This is indoor netball, as everyone knows, much tougher. How did this come about?
Well, how else do you meet girls?
I'm sure Sarah had something to say about that.
Well, yeah, she's part of the team, unfortunately. No, look, I just fill in when needed, when they need a go-to, maybe a tight game or
when they're in desperate
sub.
When they're in desperate need of a short, balding Kiwi bloke.
Yeah, well, exactly. So yeah, doing a little bit, mate. It's good. It's good. Like, I get into the golf a lot. I'll be down to single-figure handicap anytime soon, so looking forward to coming back and playing UG.
Wow,
get a few up last time we played.
You keep practicing, Butte. I'm still 100%, 3 from 3.
Brilliant. Can we expect you in the UK anytime soon?
Hopefully, mate. Hopefully. I'm aiming for this year. So if I can get over at some point, it'd be great to see you ugly mugs again.
Lovely.
We could have
a Dropout 22 live session.
Yeah, that'd be good. Maybe we can throw in some indoor netball as well. You never know.
Yeah, well, look, it's an entertaining game. I tell you what.
No scrums.
Lovely to have you back in the Dropout 22 fold, Jimbo. Thanks for catching up with me, and let me hand you back over to G-Man.
Beautiful, there he is. Our emerging star of the year finally has emerged, and it's nearly April. During that little chat, we have been joined by an Englishman. Corsie?
I'm just fucking with you, I'm here.
There's a bit of a... We'll put that down to a bit of transmission delay, should we? Fucking hell. Congratulations on your Grand Slam.
Well, yeah, I was practically there, wasn't I? So, good victory. I
mean, we had you on the show during England's dismal World Cup showing. I mean, how much does it mean now to see the boys coming on, as we've previously discussed, with essentially the same squad?
Yeah, I wouldn't shout about it too loudly, but yeah, it was a good performance out of a shit sort of Six Nations for everyone. So I'll take Grand Slam. Why not? Who wouldn't?
You've pretty much mirrored what we've said in the last 20 minutes, Corsie. I mean, who's been a real standout for you?
Billy, easily, hasn't he basically got targeted for the last couple of games because he was our go-to ball carrier. My love for our new second row, Toji and Cruz has actually stepped up to the plate. Probably those three guys have really stood out for England, I think, over this campaign.
Now, when we were doing our Dropout 22 awards, I actually tipped Itoji as our "We Won't Be Talking About It Next Year" award. I stand by it.
We got a £5 bet on it.
I stand by it.
Well, you can have a nuclear holocaust next year, is it?
Maybe, but then I did vote James Muir as our emerging star, and we've seen him once in 4 months, so these things happen.
Well, you don't hang around the netball court enough, obviously.
Clearly not. Corsie, I mean, how much credit has to go to Eddie Jones and his coaching setup for the way that he's transformed your guys? Well, it's not so much the way you've played, just the way that the team's carried itself.
Yeah, I don't know how much you can actually say is definitely him, or just basically getting us something in our own backyard is going to give anyone sort of character to either stand up or just be a little bitch and pussy out. So I think you got to give credit. You got to give credit to the guys who are there, especially the likes of like Rob Shaw, who did take a hell of a lot of stick over the World Cup. But in fairness, he's still in the team. He still got picked by a different manager or a different coach, and they still gave him stand-up performances. But maybe the limelight wasn't so much on him, and actually just let him get on with his rugby. So I think I think time will tell next year, sort of thing, for what I think Eddie's actually going to do for the team. But you've got to give a bit of credit to Stuart Lancaster, because it's not like he's inherited a completely different squad and turned it around in 2 weeks. He's the same players, but maybe he's just a better motivator, or I don't know. So there was obviously something in the dressing room that wasn't working with Stuart Lancaster, and Eddie Jones has sort of started something, and let's see if he actually brings it to a decent outcome in the coming World Cup.
Yeah, absolutely.
4 years' time.
And you must be confident sort of going forward now. I mean, the guy mentioned earlier on that back in the day you could have an easy Grand Slam because there was only England and France really in it. But the Scots, although they were poor this Six Nations, they're now competitive. Italy were dreadful, but you also beaten Ireland and Wales. Yes, at Twickenham, but it's a stronger competition now than it was probably when you won the Grand Slam last in 2003.
Well, yeah, exactly. Grand Slam. So the press kind of not slagged us off, but sort of said, "Oh yeah, it's an easy win. No one was playing badly." But you still, if everyone was playing badly, then we would have lost to someone. So you got to take some credit from it.
Well, you almost did.
Yeah.
But at least we all watched it together. Corsie, myself, you, and Guy down in Bournemouth. A word for someone who missed out on the game.
I don't have any words for that person, to be honest. He let himself down. He let his manhood down, and basically I got more time for Cayman. So.
For those of you who don't know, we were down in Bournemouth to watch the Wales-England game as Worcester Old Boys. We all went out on the Friday night, had a couple of pots. We all dusted ourselves off on Saturday morning, got to the pub. Luke Milton was too hungover to come to the pub to watch the game.
Outrageous.
He turned up around 8 o'clock, was it, when we were all absolutely hosed, stayed around for about an hour or so, and then went back to bed after 2 pints.
Outrageous.
Bad bloke.
That's something James would do.
Bad bloke. Corsie, while we've got you here, we are going to jump into Corsie's quiz. Now, I've got absolutely zero faith in you.
Excellent.
So, seeing as you have won the Grand Slam now for the first time since 2003, I had a look back at the 2003 Six Nations England squad. Now, in that squad, there was one man born in Germany. Who was it?
Born in Germany. Back or forward?
He was a back.
Back. Right. Was he a scrum half?
he was not.
Right, I'm out. I don't know. I was going to go Kieran Bracken or something. I don't know why that name came in my head.
He played the majority of his rugby out in France, if that helps you.
It'll be somebody really posh, because it'll be a military family. So like Dan Lugo or something like that.
You're absolutely spot on with it being someone very posh, guy.
Phil Christophers.
Correct. Philip Derek Christophers was born on June the 16th, 1980 in Heidelberg, Germany.
Yeah!
Nailed it.
Nice.
Fucking nailed it.
I was close.
Corsie, any idea who that is?
No, I close.
Didn't think so. Now, in the same squad, there were 2 men with the same surname. Corsie, who were they?
What's it begin with?
Shall I tell you that? Yeah, I'll tell you that. W.
Throw out Williams, even though it's a bit Welsh.
Can you name the last Williams to play for England?
I don't know. I haven't got my iPad with me, so it was a rough job. I don't know. I can't even fudge the fake answers.
Guy, any ideas?
I've got Wilkinson. Everyone's got Wilkinson, but it's not Wilkinson. It's West.
Any whites in there?
There was a West and there was a White, but there was only one of them. Patty, any?
That's it. White was me. Well, there can't be too many names that start with W. White, West, Wilkinson, Williams, Webber.
No. Right.
Winchesterton Fieldfield.
The position of the one of them was back row, and the position of the other was front row.
Wilson.
No.
Wilson!
One of them only got 3.
Oh, just tell us for fuck's sake. Sorry.
No, give us clues. Where do they play? What clubs?
The one of them played at Wasps for his whole career.
Whitehall.
Who?
I don't know. Just get some last names.
Whitehall. And the other, who played in the front row, only got 3 caps for England, played at Irish and Quins.
Worsley.
Correct. So you had Joe Worsley, who played for Wasps. And
That was an answer the other week as well.
I know, loves it. And Mike Worsley, who played for Irish from 98 to 2003.
Are they related?
And then played for the Quins. No, not related. There we go.
What's the point of that? What's the point of that question? What's the point of that 15 minutes we just spent?
Well, that's Corsie's quiz. That's Corsie's quiz, and we'll have more of that next week when Corsie joins us on time. Now, we've been playing with one quiz the whole time.
This is it here. Yes.
We have got the list of the American sports teams without an S on the end of their nicknames. Now, we've gone through them and gone through them and gone through them.
I got another one tonight as well, didn't I?
And I'm going to put the boys out of their misery. So we happened to be watching NBA before coming on air, and the who were they? The Oklahoma City
Thunder.
Thunder, weren't they? Were on. So that's the first one. You've also got the
Orlando Magic.
Orlando Magic.
Miami
that's number
Heat.
2. That's number 3. Miami Heat.
We had.
Right, we spent far too long thinking. Right, we'll go through it.
Yeah.
Number 1, Miami Heat. Number 2, Orlando Magic. Number 3, the Red Sox. Number 4, the White Sox. Number 5, Oklahoma City Thunder. Number 6 is the Utah Jazz. Number 7 is the Colorado Avalanche in the NHL.
Oh, what?
Number 8 is the Minnesota Wild in the NHL, and number 9, also in the NHL, the Tampa Bay Lightning. I know Gary Dipple listened this time, and he actually posted on the Facebook group, so he jumped in quite nicely with a couple of answers, but no one got Minnesota Wild. So sorry, Gal, this week you don't get a prize. You could get an instinctive 4 from Dave as a prize, I guess. There's a little in joke for only eight blokes, but there we go. Boys, we're going to finish off with any other business. You have 20 seconds to rant about absolutely anything you want. Patty, you're looking comfortable. You're looking set when you kick us off.
Yeah, my rant this evening is the way that the English always say a Chinese or a Italian when they're talking about takeaway. It's not a Chinese person or a Italian person. It's some Chinese takeaway. It's some Italian takeaway. Or you finish it and say, let's get a Chinese takeaway. Don't just say, oh, I had an Indian.
Bing. Very nice. Grammatical. Guy, over to you.
I'd just like to say it's taken the World Rugby 10 days to bring Joe Marler to task for having a go at Samson Lee. Yes, it was mild. It wasn't massively overly offensive. Samson didn't seem to mind, but the slowness, if that's even a word, in dealing with it has been an absolute aberration.
Very nice. And in time, which is very, very unlike you. Jimbo, it's a new feature. You've got 20 seconds to say whatever you like. Off you go.
Well, I guess, tonight I was filling out my registration form for rugby. And the way the categories were, am I black, white, coloured or Indian? Fuck me, what world are we living in these days? Jesus Christ. That's still the criteria of what you tick, of who you are. I don't know. Seemed a bit strange to me.
Top stuff.
Hold on. What did you tick?
Coloured, of course.
That's it, yeah. Red.
Corsie?
Yeah, that fucking absolute piss bag of a bloke. Milton. What a fucking wet blanket. Even it always gives it large, always rates him on a fucking all-dayer, and he didn't even fucking turn in. Pipe down, you little bitch.
Absolutely wonderful.